think you could knock out Moses Itauma, correct?
Yeah, great.
Jump because, Dillian's not an idiot, isn't he? He fancies to fight. This is a big jump for him. He's done everything up to now that's been asked of him. But there's that question mark about what happens if he goes into the later rounds.
And see how Moses goes against Dillian. I don't think they put him in against Dillian Whyte if they think there's real jeopardy for them. I think they might get a few rounds and get asked a few more questions.
Dillian Whyte takes a direct shot at Moses Itauma, mocking his so-called lack of depth and labeling his left hook as basic. Fans, however, are not convinced and see this as insecurity. Is Dillian rattled by the rapid rise of Moses? Or is this calculated psychological warfare from a man who senses that his reign might be ending soon?
There's a lot more punches than that, and I have a lot more punches than that. So, I'm not just focusing on one punch. I'm focusing more on strategy and getting to the strategic position to learn what I've learned. It's a southpaw, so you can't just walk up to him and land left hook and then the same like you do on other people. So you have to set it up and timing and stuff. So yeah, I've just been working more on that.
Whyte doubles down with sheer arrogance, brushing off public opinion as if it's beneath him. But when he calls critics idiots, the move backfires, only fueling the fire further. Is this true confidence or the cracking of fragile ego? Because ignoring Moses isn't just disrespectful, it's dangerous. This doesn't sound like focus. It sounds like a fighter desperately ducking the truth.
Just do what I believe and I say, yeah, okay, cool, and just do whatever the fuck I want anyway. So yeah, I don't really, I try and focus on me and what I'm doing and what my kids and family do. I don't care about some idiot's attention land.
Even Simon Jordan joins the conversation, questioning if Whyte is being used as a stepping stone. He suggests that Moses is being matched with Dillian not because of risk, but to gain rounds. Translation: promoters see Whyte as beatable. That's a massive insult to his legacy. Has Dillian really fallen so far that he's now target practice for a 20-year-old prodigy?
But it'll be fascinating to see how Moses goes against Dillian. I don't think they put him in against Dillian Whyte if they think there's real jeopardy for them. I think they might get a few rounds and get asked a few more questions than possibly they've been asked by Marius Wack and Dempsey McKean.
Even Tyson Fury can't ignore what's happening. He knows this fight is perfectly timed for Moses. Dillian's inactivity means we won't see the same fighter we used to. They've dressed it up as a dangerous test. But insiders know this could be a passing of the torch night. Tyson's praise for Moses says it all.
Fight, actually, especially for Moses. I think it's a very good time to fight Dillian. He's in a couple of years out the ring. But, make no mistakes, Dillian Whyte is a massive puncher to head and body. I know he's taking it very serious. I'm speaking to Ty Mitchell, who's in training camp with him. And looking forward to the fight. It's a big step up for Moses because he hasn't really fought anybody on Dillian's level. The old Dillian, who was a couple of years ago. It's going to be interesting to see how much that Dillian...
Moses isn't just another hype prospect. He's a sponge, a student of the game, and a fast learner. At only 20, he shows elite-level maturity and discipline most fighters don't reach until their late 20s. And when Tyson Fury, one of the greatest heavyweights of this era, praises you like that, you're on another level. Dillian may think he's fighting a kid, but that kid is absorbing elite sparring tactics and mentality at lightning speed. Tyson's tone sounds like admiration, but it feels like a warning. Underestimate this boy, and you'll end up flat on your back.
One thing I will say about Moses is he's a very good fighter, good little boxer, good puncher, and a lovely kid as well. It's like a sponge. You tell him something, he absorbs it, and he listens. And that's the great thing about the young kids who's coming up.
Andrew McCart exposes the real reason behind this fight. It's not legacy, it's business. Dillian needed a payday. Moses needed a name. That's the unspoken deal. But this creates controversy. Dillian, once a PPV headliner who fought Joshua and Fury, is now a gatekeeper for a 20-year-old. This isn't a comeback. It's a cash-out disguised as a challenge. For Moses, though, it's the ultimate statement opportunity. If he blasts out Dillian, the division takes notice. If Dillian pulls it off, it's a giant slap to promoters who wrote him off. But insiders know the odds secretly favor youth over experience.
The reason being is because Moses Itauma, we've been saying now, is that guy. He needs that test, he needs that step up. And I think Dillian Whyte is that guy. Dillian Whyte's probably found it hard now to get that big fight. He's probably said, I'll fight Moses Itauma if you give me X amount of money. And that's probably why.
McCart points out the elephant in the room. Moses' chin hasn't been tested. And for all the criticism, Dillian still has that Street Fighter DNA. His left hook isn't hype, it's hospital grade. What happens if Moses gets cracked early? If he bleeds or gets wobbled? That's why this fight is more than a showcase. It's a pressure test. If Moses absorbs a firestorm and still wins, all doubts vanish. If he folds, the hype bubble bursts. This fight has no middle ground. It's a defining moment.
But Dillian Whyte's got that dog in him as well, and he'll trade with you. Chisora fight, Parker fight. He's got a nasty left hook. And I think for us, as good as Moses Itauma is, that we believe he is, we need to see what it's like when he goes through that adversity, when he goes through that cut, when he goes through that chin check, when he goes through that knockdown.
Oladipo throws a curveball. Dillian's only chance might be to bring back his old school chaos. But if the best strategy left for him is to create drama outside the ring, that says everything. Once upon a time, Dillian was feared, but that version isn't here anymore. Moses isn't scared. He grew up watching those moments and trained harder because of them. The tables have turned. If Dillian is relying on mind games before the bell, he's already in trouble.
Well, wanting to go there because Moses Itauma is fascinating. I spoke to Francis Warren ringside on Saturday night. You had a microphone as well. Were you allowed to put the pressure on them to speak? Because I think
he's very, very good, Moses Itauma. So some people might say he'll get rid of Dillian Whyte like he has the others. Maybe not. Maybe Dillian's too much for him at this stage.
Adam Smith cuts through the noise. This isn't a mismatch. It's a truth test. Moses has demolished everyone so far. But Dillian Whyte isn't a pushover. If Moses steamrolls him, the hype becomes reality. If Dillian drags him into deep waters, we get real answers. But here's the trap. If Moses doesn't dominate, critics will say he was overhyped. If Dillian doesn't win, it cements his fall. This fight isn't just about punches. It's about narrative control.
Dillian Whyte and Moses Itauma, really interesting fight. Intriguing because Dillian Whyte will take anyone on. He's a fighter through and through. He's given us so much entertainment over the years. Yes, he's at the back end, but it's one of those that it's the old guy with the experience and the know-how who can...
Smith reminds everyone, Dillian Whyte is still a warrior. He's fought killers, taken risks, and bled for the sport. That legacy adds danger. Yes, he's older and past his prime, but he only knows one way, forward. This is experience versus youth, grit versus talent. If Moses underestimates that, he could walk into a trap. But if Moses beats not just Dillian's body, but his legacy too, he becomes the next real threat. This isn't just a fight. It's a generational clash. Moses Itauma, 20 years old, fearless, and rising fast, versus Dillian Whyte, the battle-hardened veteran. If Moses dominates, the new era begins. If Dillian rediscovers old fire, he could derail the hype train. For Moses, it's about proving he's more than hype. For Dillian, it's about survival, pride, and one last stand. When raw youth meets desperate experience, someone's getting hurt, and history will be made either way.